Coming up on your local news, one Abilene child continues to battle health problems after he beats COVID-19. Plus, we take a look back at some of our positive stories from 2020.
And as we move ahead into the first weekend or rest of this first weekend of the year, temperatures continue to warm for the big country before our next cold front next week. I'll look at that forecast here in a few minutes. Abilene's local news starts right now.
Live from Abilene's first news station, Big Country Proud. This is KRBC, Abilene's local news weekend.
Good evening. Thanks for tuning in to KRBC News at 6. I'm Dan Booth. Our top story tonight, roughly 1 out of 16 Americans tested positive for the coronavirus in 2020. With some hospitals at or near capacity and the vaccine rollout moving slower than expected, frontline workers are concerned about what's ahead now that the holidays are over. NBC's Wendy Woolfolk has the latest.
A new year, but the same challenges in the battle against COVID-19.
We're at this stage now beyond just describing this as waves or surges or even surges on top of surges. We now are at a viral tsunami.
In Southern California, with a record number of COVID deaths and a shortage on hospital beds, frontline workers worry about what's ahead now that the holidays are behind us.
We are admitting patients faster than we discharge them. In this battle, we are so outnumbered.
With the number of cases of the new strain that spreads faster and is more contagious growing, more pressure on the vaccine rollout.
This is going to be a race against time as we try to vaccinate our population.
But the process is slow in places like Florida and Tennessee, with people waiting for hours in lines that stretch city blocks. There is some progress, however. Frontline workers like Dr. Paula Eckhart getting their second dose Saturday.
I'm a Latina. That population also is very fearful of new things and new vaccines, so I wanted to show that it's okay.
Small glimpses of hope in 2021. Wendy Woolfolk, NBC News.
Thank you, Wendy. Now let's check the first forecast. Dylan, what can we expect for the rest of the weekend and the upcoming work week?
Well, Dan, I have to say, as we move ahead into the next couple of days, temperatures will continue to warm across the area, leaving the snow and sleet all behind us. Just a couple areas left of any remnants of that, and as we move ahead into the next several days, we are warming up those temperatures. Plenty of sunshine, winds are picking up as well, but still a pretty dry forecast. The rain and snow and sleet and everything we saw on the 31st helped our end of the year totals for rainfall of that in the forecast coming up in a few minutes. But satellite radar right now is pretty quiet across the state. There's really not much going on in the state of Texas and the big country as well. It's been a sunny day all day. Temperatures did get back up to the low to mid 50s this afternoon, so it was honestly a little bit of a warmer day, but still definitely on the cool side. Right now we're sitting just shy of 50 degrees, and as we move ahead into your Sunday, temperatures are going to be getting back up to the mid 50s. So we're looking at a little bit of a light, calm wind day and a beautiful day coming up for your Sunday. Dan?
Thank you, Dylan. And for most parents, a child contracting the coronavirus can be a nightmare, but for the Abbotts, it's even worse. Abilene 11-year-old Carson Abbott was diagnosed with the coronavirus in November, and while he did recover, he didn't stay well for long, showing strange symptoms around Thanksgiving. His mother says he complained of frequent headaches, fatigue, and a stomach ache. Carson had developed multisystem inflammatory syndrome, a condition that causes internal and external swelling. It's found in children who had COVID-19, and it can be fatal.
Hope that parents see this and they will, if your child has had COVID, I hope that you will go look this up, because I didn't even know it existed. And I can tell you that I don't know that I've ever seen my child so sick and fighting for his life.
The Abbotts have set up a GoFundMe for Carson and his mother. A link to that page can be found on our website, bigcountryhomepage.com. A retired doctor in Fort Collins, Colorado, wanted to honor healthcare workers who have died from the virus, so she created a ribbon memorial. Mark Salinger has the story.
A doctor, a nurse, a pharmacist, a first responder, a ribbon for each life lost.
I want them to see the scale of what this means.
Nearly 3,000, enough to line the sidewalk in front of Carol Tim's house in Fort Collins, from one corner to the next.
There are at least 2,900 The actual number that I've used was 2921, which seems to be the best available data that there is.
The number comes from an investigation done by The Guardian and Kaiser Health News. The government hasn't released data on how many healthcare workers have died from COVID-19 in the United States.
Whether they're doctors or whether they're orderlies, these are people who are doing their jobs who sacrificed. They were on the front lines and they died.
For Carol, the number is personal.
I was a doctor for 38 years. I retired 2 years ago.
For decades, she worked to treat the sick and help the injured. Now, she wants to make sure she can honor the sacrifices of her colleagues.
I got about halfway down this line before I started crying.
The number of victims of the pandemic has grown to a point that's difficult to comprehend. On a neighborhood block in Fort Collins,
each one of these are people that have, basically been lost.
The toll the virus has taken is on display. Carol wants everyone to look.
People don't know it, but they should know it. Because the folks that are doing this care are sacrificing so much.
A small way to remember the lives lost.
The report tallying up the number of healthcare workers lost to COVID-19 includes doctors, nurses, social workers, and administrators. Coming up on your local news, we'll dive into some of the more positive stories from across the big country in 2020.
Plus, moving ahead into your Sunday and the first full week of 2021 coming up, we've got some nice weather, pleasant weather to get outside. All that forecast coming up next.
You're watching KRBC, Abilene's local news weekend. Now, this is your KRBC Storm Track weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Dylan Smith. Sponsored by First Bank Texas.
Well, that snow really didn't last long here in the big country. It was mostly gone yesterday. Today, there are just a few patches on roofs and a couple areas in some people's backyards of some lingering snow, but that is about it. Heading into the rest of this weekend and the first week of 2021 as we move into Monday, we're looking at warming temperatures, plenty of sunshine on the way. The winds are picking up a little bit and still a pretty dry forecast. However, that rain, snow, sleet event that happened just this past week that actually helped us get back above typical rainfall totals for last year. So I'll look at that here in a minute. Satellite radar, though, pretty quiet across the whole state. Not really even any cloud cover out there, and that will continue for the rest of the evening and tomorrow. As we move into tomorrow, skies are staying clear and sunny. Winds are picking up a little bit tomorrow, but for now it's a clean sweep of 3D live radar. Temperatures hovering around 50 degrees currently, and that will continue to drop overnight. We're getting down close to freezing by tomorrow morning, but for now a lot of us still around that 50-degree mark, but it really does depend on where you look. You look out west, I'm thinking this is actually a little bit of snowpack for you guys, that effect keeping you guys a little bit cooler as you stay down in the mid to low 40s out there for the western half of the big country, and the eastern half and the heartland, again 40s and 50s out there. And tomorrow morning it will be pretty chilly again. Could even see a couple areas like our western counties, maybe even the heartland, reach back down close to freezing, but it will not be a hard freeze. Nevertheless, could still see some liquid precip on the ground, refreeze by tomorrow morning. That could be an issue, but tomorrow afternoon will be very comfortable as we make it back up into the mid to upper 50s. Still a little cool, but a light jacket might still be wanted in the afternoon hours, especially tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening. But again, nothing too crazy in terms of temperature swings. The pretty typical run-of-the-mill day for tomorrow. And I told you we'd talk about precip for last year and wrapping it up for the year. For the majority of the year, here, this top line here, luckily it's on top. That's actually what we've seen, or what we saw so far throughout the year last year. This is the average line, the red smooth line there. A big rain event back in early September really helped us out, but then we stayed pretty dry and flat there. And only a couple of areas of precip since November. So we actually saw this end of the year nice rainfall event of about an inch of rain and precip in general. That helped us stay and get up to about an inch and a half above typical rainfall total. So all in all, it was a good year for rainfall, but you look at the drought monitor, you might not necessarily think so. Temperatures over the next few days climbing nicely. A little cold front by Wednesday, knocking us down, but nothing too crazy in terms of more snow or anything like that. Futurecast for the rest of the evening and tonight staying pretty quiet. Could see a cloud deck move through, but that really won't do much, won't drop us any rain or anything like that. That will continue throughout the day tomorrow as we move into your Sunday. So it'll be a beautiful day coming up for tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine, nice and mild in the afternoon hours in the mid to upper 50s. Maybe seeing some lower 60s by early next week. Then the cold front knocks us down to the 50s and 40s by late next week. Dan?
Thank you, Dylan. Coming up next on your local news, our Jessica Rank takes a look back at some of the positive stories 2020 had to offer.
This year, we were all looking for a few reasons to
You're watching KRBC, Abilene's local news weekend.
2020 was an interesting year to say the least, and I'm sure that many of us are glad it's over. But with all the uncertainty that came with the pandemic, 2020 did leave us with a few shining moments. KRBC's Jessica Rank counts down the top 10 moments of the year, and here's the first 5.
This year we were all looking for a few reasons to smile and bring a little light to a dark year. So we're taking a look back at a few positive moments, starting first at number 10. 2 civilians and 1 Dias Airman honored for saving a driver from a burning car. On September 16th, the Abilene Fire Department responded to a fire in southwest Abilene. But when they arrived, they found the 3 men already stopped, pulling the driver from the car and saving the life of a total stranger. And at number 9, an Abilene man cast his presidential ballot for the first time ever at 91 years old.
I wanted to be counted.
Humberto de la Vega became a United States citizen in 2019, making him eligible to vote this year. But it wasn't about who he voted for, instead the fact he was finally able to use his voice.
I know I felt good. He felt a warm feeling. I don't know whether everybody feels that way or not. Maybe they've done it so often they don't think about it. But for me, it was a good experience.
And those positive moments continue with number 7 and 8 on our list. New buildings for both the Taylor County Expo Center and the Abilene Youth Sports Authority. Members at AYSA finally able to make former Executive Director John Smith's dream a reality, honoring the life and legacy he left behind.
It's so precious, it's bittersweet that he can't be here and see it, but generations after us carry on our legacy.
This year we saw our first African-American police chief sworn into his new position.
It gives me a great sense of pride to be able to share with my daughters that a black man can be the chief of an agency, of a department that is not majority people of color.
Coming in at number 6, Marcus Dudley Jr. selected to represent our police department, furthering the importance of diversity in local government, with Mayor Williams as our first African-American mayor and Chief Candy Flores as our first Hispanic fire chief.
For a long time we haven't seen a great representation, and I think that's changing, and I think it's really having an impact on how those people in the community feel towards leadership.
There were certainly dark times in 2020, but as we head into 2021, we remember there were a few reasons to smile. In Abilene, Jessica Rank, KRBC, Abilene's local news.
Thank you, Jess. You can catch the second half of the countdown on KRBC News at 10. The ACU Wildcats open Southland Conference play this afternoon at home against Lamar. Dusty has the highlights coming up next in sports.
BigCountryHomepage.com sports with Dusty Baker.
Tomorrow will be a huge
This is BigCountryHomepage.com Sports with Dusty Baker.
Tomorrow will be a huge day for the Dallas Cowboys organization. A win over the New York Giants and a loss by the Washington football team. And the Cowboys are in the playoffs. A loss by the Giants, of course, or a win by Washington, and those dreams quickly crash and burn. Everything is on the line. Mickey Spagnola presents his keys to the game for Week 17.
Welcome to our 2021 Silver Star Nation Keys to Cowboys-Giants Sunday at MetLife Stadium. The first key is running Cowboys. The Cowboys gained 151 yards rushing against Philadelphia in this past Sunday's victory. Zeke leading the way with 105. The Cowboys need to continue this on Sunday in the Meadowlands. Who knows what the temperature is going to be? You always need to be able to run the ball up there. And the Giants have been susceptible to the run. During their 3-game losing streak, they've given up at least 100 yards to their opponents in each of those 3 games, including 249 to Baltimore. Run right over the Giants. The second key is defense. The Cowboys defense must step up against a Giants offense that is ranked 31st in the National Football League. They failed to score more than 19 points in their last 5 games. The Cowboys need to keep that Giants offense bottled up. And the third key is takeaways trending. The Cowboys have 10 takeaways over their last 3 games during this winning streak, and they've only given the ball away once. And in the last 6 games, when the Cowboys have gone 4-2, they've been a +9 in the turnover differential. That needs to continue. For the Silver Star Nation, I'm Mickey Spagnola.
Thank you, Mickey. The ACU men are back in action this new year and are immediately kicking it off with the Southland Conference play. The new year, of course, looking a little different with social distancing and games being played in the Teague Center, but the weight of these games mean the exact same as they always had. ACU hosting Lamar this afternoon, and ACU getting on the board here early on in this one. It's Corian Mason after the ball movement around. Well, Corian Mason finishes it with a reverse layup. ACU with a 2-point advantage at this time. Anderson Kopp on the other end, though, with a jumper, nails that one, and just like that, we are tied at 2 apiece. And then a little bit later on, Avery Sullivan will draw the foul here, but of course, prior to that, he makes the shot, knocks it in. Extra point here with the and one makes it a 3-point lead for Lamar. Arian Simmons here, though, on the other end, he lays that one in, and all of a sudden ACU is trailing by just a point. And then Mekhi Morris here. Morris with a fast break, and he will finish the job on the other end, retaking the lead for ACU at this time, and Morris was not done there. Next possession, it's Pleasant looking for a man. Finds Morris. Morris shoots, knocks it in, 3-pointer. ACU's got themselves a 4-point lead. Sullivan, though, with the jumper, would knock that down to a 2-point ACU advantage, but not before Colton Cole got in on the action. Finishes the job with the layup. ACU takes it 83-65. Now the national title is set between Alabama and Ohio State a day after the playoff. Texas A&M feeling a little bit snubbed. Rightfully so, maybe. Tonight, those 5th-ranked Aggies will take on Mack Brown's North Carolina Tar Heels at 7 p.m. at the Orange Bowl. We'll have an updated score for you tonight at 10. All right, that's the sports. Let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Dusty. Sunday night on NBC, the Eagles are hosting the Washington football team in the final game of the NFL's regular season. Here's our Football Night in America team, Mike Tirico, Tony Dungy, and Rodney Harrison with a preview of the big game.
Game 256, last one of the NFL regular season, and it's Washington with a chance to get in with a win against the Philadelphia Eagles. So many issues on both sides. Let's start with Washington. They're the team in the must-win situation.
Yes, Ron Rivera has done a tremendous job getting these guys to this point, but they desperately need Alex Smith to be back. Their defense is playing well. They haven't gotten the solid quarterback play, though.
Yeah, Antonio Gibson, he's back. He looks good. So I say if Alex Smith can't play, I don't give him too much of a chance, Mike.
Look forward to watching Jalen Hurts, who's come in the lineup and done some good things for Philadelphia against that Washington best of the bunch, their front four. See you for Sunday Night Football on NBC.
If the Washington football team wins tomorrow night, they win the NFC East. However, if the Eagles win, due to tiebreakers, whoever wins the Cowboys-Giants game tomorrow afternoon will claim the NFC East title.
And coming up after the break, we've got a great forecast for the rest of this first weekend of the year and next week. Stay with us. As we move ahead into your Sunday and week coming up next week, we do have a cold front middle next week, but until then, a nice warming trend over the next several days that will see us back into the 60s by Tuesday before that cold front hits. Overnight lows hovering around freezing, but shouldn't be any hard freezes for the foreseeable future. Dan?
Dylan, thank you, and that's your local news at 6. We'll see you back here at 10.
Thanks for trusting KRBC. Have a great night.